James, straight up, I think CeeDee Lamb is better than Amari Cooper. I want to buy in on CeeDee Lamb right now.
Look at the release.
There's your separation.
Great route.
Stutter and go. Gets by clean.
That is unbelievable.
May be the greatest catch I've ever seen.
Per Next Gen Stats last year, Matt, CeeDee Lamb played a ridiculous 91% of his snaps as an inside wide receiver. That's got to change, man, and it's encouraging that maybe the Dallas Cowboys coaching staff feels the same way, and potentially, moving around CeeDee Lamb.
I just talked to Charles Robinson, Yahoo's national writer, on Friday, and he was saying, echoing those same sort of sentiments. He just spent time at Cowboys camp, that not only are they moving CeeDee to the perimeter, but that like he looks like that dude, like a number one verified receiver up there in camp. And, listen, everybody looks good in padded practices, blah, blah, blah. But we know based on reception perception that CeeDee Lamb can be that guy. Like you mentioned, was mostly a slot receiver last year, but looking at his route success rate chart that you're bringing up there right now, we know he can get open on slants and flats. That's great. But there's vertical ability here. There's an ability to win on those deep dig routes and just crush teams that way. I think that CeeDee Lamb, we're seeing just the beginning. 80% success rate in a very small sample size last year because he ran so much out of the slot, but 80% success rate, that was 93rd percentile.
Right.
72.5% success rate versus man coverage. That is well beyond the threshold we're looking at for a potential stud there. I really think, especially because Amari Cooper's not in camp right now. Last time we focused on CeeDee Lamb with his full RP breakdown, it's great. And I do think it's awesome that he sees some slot looks because it's going to put some layups into his into his portfolio. But we want him on the outside getting vertical plays. We want him getting more targets in contested situations because he's really good there. And, he's a guy that's good after the catch as well. You look at him back at Oklahoma, he broke a ton of tackles, a yak machine there. I really think they've got a budding star on their hands. I really think that Lamb is a future number one receiver. Yeah, at this point, Lamb and Gallup look like screaming buys where they're going at ADP. Gallup is undervalued, have maintained that the entire way. He should be ranked closer to wide receiver 30 than wide receiver 40. But Lamb right now, I think he's settling into a good range, in that early third round ADP right now. I want to be in on CeeDee Lamb because I want to be in on this offense. And I think he is going to lead the team in targets this year.
Does he jump Amari Cooper as the primary pass catcher in that offense? That's the only way you think he busts through his third round ADP, right? Because otherwise it's you're kind of sort of buying him at cost, which is not bad, by the way, it's not bad.
It's not bad.
I'm not saying that. And I'm not saying he'll be a disappointment in the third round. I'm just saying for him, for you to feel okay, let me get in on this train early and let him bust through that third round ADP. Because man, that's a lot of draft capital in fantasy football. And for him to bust through that, you have to sell yourself a story where CeeDee Lamb passes Amari Cooper as the primary pass catcher in Dallas. And it sounds like, Matt, you have kind of sort of seen a path for that to happen.
James, straight up, I think CeeDee Lamb is better than Amari Cooper. I think Amari Cooper is the most overrated route runner in the NFL. I've maintained this for years now. 30th percentile last year against man coverage, 32nd against press coverage. He's a guy that you need to scheme into situations. He's a guy that you need to scheme against zone coverage. These flanker looks, Dallas, credit to them that when they traded for him, they did that. They changed his role from being an X receiver when he was flopping out at the end of his Oakland tenure. Right. The Cowboys were smart and they got him in good situations. And I think he's proven to be a very, very good receiver for them, but he's not a true number one receiver. He is not a guy that separates at all levels. Whereas CeeDee Lamb, I think, can be that guy. So the story is just that I think Cooper has leveled off into being a very good receiver. I think, and that's fine. I do think he's a little bit overrated, but he's clearly like a good receiver in the NFL that they run against zone coverage. 64% of his routes last year in reception perception were against zone coverage. Only 12% against press. They get him in those good situations. And I'm not saying that like he stinks, but I just don't think he's a true number one receiver. CeeDee Lamb can be that guy. He's already shown that he can beat man coverage routinely, not be created touches, that type of stuff. I really, really am excited about CeeDee Lamb, and I think he just if he right now can build up that momentum as like Dak's guy in training camp, I want to buy in that he can be that player in the regular season as well.
Last year, Amari Cooper, 130 targets, led the team, obviously. 92 receptions, 1,100 yards. Fabulous season for Amari Cooper. Meanwhile, you take a look at CeeDee Lamb, did not crack 1,000 yards, but was very close. I think he had like 950 and about 110 targets. CeeDee Lamb, better route runner, probably more versatile, quite honestly, than Amari Cooper, but the human element, man, it's awfully tough to predict. And I do know one thing. Dak Prescott loves him some Amari Cooper. So that is, it's going to be an interesting time during training camp to see how much time Amari is going to miss and how much chemistry and how much trust Dak is going to build with CeeDee Lamb.